Folks, welcome in. It is not the show where it's wrestling with your budget. It is not the show where it's wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion. We got a full house. Let's get Slick L. Let's get Mr. Micah. Let's get the Prophet Rob Ryan, and let's get Parthy in here. Gents, we're kind of in that end of summer, early fall lull here. We had like a spam of events and everything, and now it feels like things are in a little bit more coast. For WWE, it seems like continuity is what they're going after, whereas AEW, this is maybe some fresh things, some new ideas, some new concepts at work. So with that said, let's obviously get into the action tonight right away. Obviously, we got news all over the wrestling sphere, but we got AEW Grand Slam on deck. So I will defer to the head of the table on this one. What are we looking forward to most here, and what has the biggest potential to maybe shock and awe?
I think we know what has the biggest potential to shock and awe. It's this John Moxley invasion type storyline. The rumors are rampant that Shane McMahon is going to be making an appearance. If you're going to have Shane drop in, it's going to be in New York City in his dad's backyard, old backyard of the WWE's old territory, essentially. And you want to, if you're going to pair him with Moxley, a lot of hardcore AEW people are probably going to, like 5 years ago, they would have said, screw the McMahons, we don't need them. And now it's sort of like an FU to the WWE and also a shot in the arm that they sort of need. Not the kind of shot that you take in the mouth per se, but, figuratively speaking, that it should get a few eyes going their way if it were to happen tonight.
I got to jump in here real quick. This is like my two favorite HBO shows combined, Succession and House of the Dragon. We got a split house causing a war on one side, and we're seeing profiting on the other. But speaking of profiting, Prophet, what are you going into tonight with?
Well, you see this guy over here, whatever, doesn't matter his name anymore. But I'll add on some to him first before going into that. It's a great time for Shane McMahon to debut. I know we'll talk about it later, but what debuted today, but we'll talk about that later. But for Grand Slam, it's the Prophet's not amused.
What are you trying to kill?
What's wrong with you right now?
To get to Batavia Downs, ultimate spot.
No, sorry.
Are you on perks, dude?
The Prof hasn't been on yet. He has to warm up, but I'm going with Nigel and Danielson. Obviously, they've had a really long feud that hasn't obviously been around in a long time, but it was a really good one in Ring of Honor. I think we've talked about it in the chat. I think there should have been more of a story built around that, but it is what it is. Danielson's on borrowed time as it is, so I'm really excited about that one. And obviously, Shane possibly coming. We said. And then I'm interested to see the tag title match. See what Ospreay does. I mean, I don't think they're gonna win, but I'd be shocked. We'll see. Who knows?
Who knows? That's like a Tony Khan tweet. Tune into AEW Dynamite tonight, this Wednesday, to find out.
There will be justified. This is awesome chance.
Okay.
The Young Bucks showed out last week. They hadn't been looking good for a couple months. So I am very excited about that tag match. I'm excited about the development in the Don Callis family too, because this whole thing starting out with Ospreay getting the spot as the favor returning. Takeshita was pissed about it right away. And Maniac's Takeshita is ready for a rocket ship in AEW, and putting him either in a feud with Ospreay, Fletcher, or if this is everybody breaking off from the Callis family and being like, fuck Don Callis, and we get three big baby faces out of this United Empire back together. Takeshita finally a single star on his own. That feels like the best case scenario. So I'm kind of hoping for that out of that tag match. Really looking forward to it. Believe that Prince Nana is supposed to be on tonight to discuss Swerve Strickland's future. Very invested in that. And I wish that Hangman Jeff Jarrett was on Dynamite tonight. That's what I really wish that with that match. That it's on Collision Saturday. At least that's what Wikipedia says.
No, AEW tweeted it that it's tonight.
Okay, well then you just made my whole fucking
filming
night.
it tonight, but like it might not be on air.
They
advertised a whole bunch of stuff, and it was either for Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. They never specified.
No, there was a tweet. Maniac, pull it up. Yeah, that one.
No, I think you're referring to the intern.
Rob literally can't even see my screen.
Rob, do you
that one?
Do you see the two logos at the top, buddy?
Yeah, this is.
But then the tweet only says Dynamite.
It's a combined Dynamite and Collision card.
I saw this tweet earlier.
They didn't do a good job of delineating which of those matches is going to be on Dynamite.
They were trying to. It was like a live event poster.
That's pretty fucked up by Tony Khan.
Is Jack Perry's Open Challenge even tonight? Like,
no, that's
this right here is bullshit.
No, that's
exactly no pop.
No pop.
Yeah, they could have definitely done a better job advertising.
They were trying to.
There's going to be a few things that it seems like they're really trying to push for this Grand Slam Collision to be watched by a lot of people.
Well, and they're trying to trick the live crowd to buy walk-up tickets. You know, just be like, "This is what you're getting this whole night."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't know when it'll be.
I have never heard so many lies in my entire life, other than when I was saying them.
Yeah, sounds like another guy I know. Just leave it at that. But hey, there's a lot of things I'm excited for tonight. Mariah, I think we could see the return of Mina.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. Shut up on conducting business.
Just have
we could two can play that game, bitch. But yeah, I mean, I think the. No, we're not doing this.
Okay, we're getting out of control.
Yeah, exactly. The Prophet takes one thing, thinks it's good.
Rob doesn't have anything to say, so he's like, I'm just gonna hit every
single fucking audio clip we have.
With that said, can we talk about how Soraya's rules has its own font, but the Jack Perry TNT Championship Open Challenge doesn't have its own font?
What is Soraya's rules?
Soraya's rules? That like
Seth Rollins don't apply to Soraya.
And notice how it says Soraya's rules in that font, but it doesn't even say her name in the same font.
That's what it is, Partha. The rules don't apply to Soraya. That's her rule.
Jamie here has to abide by regular rules. Soraya can do whatever the hell she wants.
Wow.
That's how I understand.
Why do I have a feeling Soraya's rules is basically bloodline rules, where it's no DQ?
That's what I was literally saying.
It literally makes no sense, probably. But
no, it's like trial combat.
If you count, you're fired. I love that.
All right, let's start from the bottom and work our way up here. Obviously hologram, right? I mean, he's like literally the only one that I've even like seen repeatedly on this, and he's the biggest new hotness.
Yeah,
Soraya's rules. We all know when you're in charge of the rules, you basically guarantee to lose. And Jamie Hayter is kind of just coming back on her streak, so she's winning that, right?
Whoa!
Yeah, I think
whoa, brother.
What about
relegated?
What about we just talked about bloodline rules? That not bloodline rules.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How does that typically work out?
The tag match. Sorry, the tag match. Where The Rock was in charge and he won.
Parthy, I think you're right. She's got to go
bloodline rules.
No, I meant the tag
match.
It
was Rock rules.
Yeah, that wasn't bloodline rules.
It was Rock rules.
That was Rock gets his own belt and gets to come out in a flame entrance rules.
That was basically EVP. That was basically EVP rules. I'm on the board, bitch.
Yeah, that was amazing. But okay, so wait, hold on. Who thinks
Partha brought
Soraya besides Profi? Partha, you're in on Soraya winning?
I'm in on Jamie Hayter winning. I just want to know why the hell Jamie Hayter is being regulated to the B and the C shows. When
they got to get her.
When she came back on the pre-show at All In, people said, "Oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal. She's going to be great," and they're just treating her like like AEW dark match people.
So what do we know is for sure on Dynamite?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. What's
I have the Dynamite card from Wikipedia right here, so I can give you that. We can
I'm going with Hayter. I was never saying that I was going Soraya. I was just saying this possibility.
The Dynamite card is the Young Bucks versus Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay for the tag team titles.
Banger.
Brian May versus Yuka Sakazaki.
Banger.
Women's title. Hook versus Roddy Strong for the FTW championship. Brian Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness singles match.
Banger.
John Moxley versus Darby Allin. Winner faces Brian Danielson at Wrestle Dream. That is the card plus Prince Nana.
You have to add for Danielson, Nigel, if Brian is cleared to wrestle.
Yes. If Brian's clear, Brian just only has a couple dates, and they're like, "All right, give him a 2-week vacation, come back to New York with your world title." It's crazy that they did this with him being world champion. Just he's been not on TV, and Nigel's been doing it. But
yeah, they've literally
this was clearly step one all along. Whenever he was going to be champion.
This is
Am I lagging? What the fuck is going on?
More tickets, essentially.
Yeah, you're right, Partham. That's what this poster makes it feel like. It's just to sell more tickets because the TV audience is left confused looking at it.
Very confused.
They put the if someone's cleared to wrestle match at the top of the card here that they're showing. I mean,
that's a great point.
I did think there was a way too many matches for a TV show.
No, you didn't, Rob. You were Jeff Jarrett Hangman is on Dynamite tonight.
No, I did, but that's what I thought. That's when I thought this was the card. I literally
wrong. Profit. Can we intern? Can we change the names?
God. Can we mute you? Jesus Christ! Thank you.
You guys are going off the fucking rails. I'm glad my friggin' mic isn't going out there. With that said, yeah, it should be a crazy night. Obviously, it's a little ridiculous. Yeah, I can't imagine like anything of too much circumstance is going to be happening. In the dark matches, that's going to obviously be saved for Collision on TV on Saturday. So Jeff Jarrett, Hangman Adam Page, then Micah is going on Saturday.
Yes. And that's the match. That's the only match, not the only match, but I care about that match by far.
Jack Perry's tonight, right?
Profit, I'm talking, okay? Okay, so you're going to go on mute. And what that leads me to believe, since I was making a point, is that Prince Nana will be attacked by Hangman Adam.
Oh, you're right. And Swerve's not going to be there
either. Swerve will not be there anywhere there to protect. I'm just saying, because I'm like, well, could he have, when you split the show, it makes a little bit more sense.
Not if I even get a word in. He's going to start dancing, and all of a sudden there's going to be a mustached man behind him.
Do we think Hangman pulls those hidden cameraman shenanigans or something like that, where he's just
I don't even think it is that deep. I think he might just start to give the update, and Hangman's like, nope, I wrote him out of history, and you're next.
Hangman might just walk out,
drag him out of the entranceway already beaten up.
Yeah. I literally, I'm telling you, as much as I do want to see the coffee toss. I don't think it's going to be a very long segment for Prince Nana, unfortunately.
That's sad. I didn't
that is sad.
I know. I was trying to do some logistics.
No, that's smart. That's smart.
We got any Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, I think we all agreed, right, is leading to a future angle with the Callis family. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. That's got to be Callis family.
I know we were talking about that, but Mariah May will retain, and then Moxley, Darby. If Moxley
Can I say something interesting about the Mariah May story?
Yes.
Is that obviously she wants Mina back, so maybe we get Mina tonight. Sunday, I believe this Sunday, Mina Shirakawa is tagging in Stardom with none other than Toni Storm. So we haven't heard where Mina's loyalty lies. Is she going to actually tag with her? Is she going to turn on Mariah and stay with Toni? But that's interesting that's a tag match. That's a tag match before Toni fights for the Stardom title. So it's like a little pre main event thing. But yeah,
it's like this love triangle. This love triangle has reversed itself back to the beginning of time. Now it's back to which side has me and Shirakawa.
Is Jack Perry tonight?
No.
Oh my god!
So that leads me to believe if Shane McMahon is coming out tonight, it's going to be with Moxley in some form, right?
Imagine he just walks out with him at the entourage.
Imagine they go on the air. Here comes the money. Can you fucking imagine?
Do they open? What do you think?
I think the debut is way saved better for after Moxley leaves Darby Allin in a pool of blood or something.
No, I totally agree. Or even on the way to the match. But I mean, if you go on the air, no explanation, it always results in a good return. Would it be the best decision? Probably not. What were you going to say, Jake?
I'm wondering about the structure of this Dynamite. Do we think that Danielson and Nigel start and then they get more time and Moxley Allen is going to be a angle heavy match towards the end, so they save it towards the end of the night?
When you have the dramatic element of if Bryan's going to wrestle, I think they should milk that throughout the night and make it a later match, maybe even the main event. I don't know that you start right out with the match of, is this guy going to be cleared to compete? Is he going to come right out?
Yeah, have him in Doc Samson's office and Renee's outside. We're trying to get reports on Danielson if he can wrestle tonight.
That is another thing.
We don't know.
Low key, Tony Khan has the opportunity to do the funniest thing and just book Bryan Danielson not cleared to wrestle. I don't care. You're telling me that
the ring with trash
you're telling me that wouldn't keep kayfabe alive? Are you?
That would be awesome if Nigel was in the ring warming up, and then Tony Khan just came out hang on a second, guys, I have an announcement.
Would be a great kayfabe payback move by Danielson on Nigel for talking all this shit. Be like, oh, you want this match so bad, buddy? I'm just not going to show up. See you later.
Doc said no. Can't do it.
But yeah, but then also, again, so you're going to put Bryan Danielson. So you're going to put that. So then probably tag team match out the gate.
Yeah. If Danielson's the main event, that's a good point with Milk.
That seems like a pretty straight angle that you're working in that match. So I think that's the one, probably the best one.
Maybe Mox and Darby at like
right in the middle,
the 9 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, very interesting. Speaking of interesting, I see that Jey Uso has a title shot against Braun Breaker a couple nights ago. All of a sudden, we got a new YEETercontinental Champion. I couldn't believe it. So this is kind of the debut in the Triple H era of a title switch on a cable, right?
Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been calling for it. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
I was passed out. I woke up and I was like, holy shit, we're yeeting this morning.
We're yeeting.
I didn't think it was going to happen going in, but as the match progressed and in the build-up where Braun's talking about nobody in your family's ever beaten anybody in my family, and then during the match he's basically breaking up pins and doing push-ups on his own, just basically thinking like this is just going to be a walk in the park. And toward the end, where they had that false finish that Jey had, where he did the spear and the splash, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was supposed to be it, but they're just going to keep it on Braun. And then for it to come out of nowhere like that, especially with all these long championship reigns that have been established, Rhea Ripley, Gunther, Roman Reigns, of course, and you're thinking, well, they're just going to put it on Braun and he's going to hold it until at least WrestleMania. And for this to come out of nowhere, in a way, it's shocking, but it also makes sense because Braun Breaker doesn't necessarily need a long run. He can be a 2-time Intercontinental Champion before his first year is over. And that could be more, accolades around his waist. But it also tells a little interesting story with Braun. And a lot of people are speculating that it's going to be the impetus for the bloodline to pull Jey back in. Maybe Jey says some offhand comment about, I never needed Solo or the rest of them. And that, disrespect Solo. And he's been disrespected enough by, Roman and Cody Rhodes, where he's going to come over to Raw, send his henchmen over to Raw and say, you know what? We're going to screw you over. Your one thing that you wanted the most, that singles title in your rematch with Braun, whatever that's going to come. I think they'll give Jey like 1 or 2 TV defenses to get under his belt. And then there'll be at a PLE or a big event, maybe a big Raw main event, Braun will get his title back, and maybe the bloodline will be the reason for that. And that'll draw him into a War Games match that maybe he didn't want to be a part of in the first place because he's on his own. He wants to be separate from that. But not unlike when Hangman didn't want to do Blood and Guts, but then he heard Swerve was going to be in. It's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. I want to first talk about Joe Tessitore. He was fantastic in that match, and he's awesome. Been great since every week he's been getting better and better. But yeah, I think this, as Parthy said, this builds to the War Games. I'm not sure how they do it because there are no other PLEs after Bad Blood and War Games, so it would have to be on a Raw if Braun was going to win it back.
Yes.
What?
Crown Jewel.
Oh, I forgot about Crown Jewel. Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll fill that with like some filler bullshit, probably.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think he stays at champ though, and he says. And they build it to Roman. Like Roman comes begging, and he's like, "I don't need you. Look at this. I have a singles championship." And then maybe something happens where he gets attacked. I think he's still champion going into War Games. But we'll see. But yeah, I loved what they're doing. I thought Braun was going to beat him until at least like Mania, like a long reign like Triple H is used to. But I'm happy to see that he actually is willing to give these short reigns.
I want to build on what you said there because I think that's a great way to do this. I think that he's champ until Saturday night's main event. You get him into there, and that main event Jey Uso, Saturday night's main event Jey Uso feels like it's perfect branding there with him as the IC champ. But Roman should go to him, and he should turn down Roman right away. And that could be the impetus for Jimmy being like, this is bigger than us. Like, you see what they're doing to our family, all this other stuff, and pull on the emotional strings. And that's the reconnection there. And that's how Jey kind of unwillingly joins on into the war. The Braun thing, though, and I think Braun is the one who wins it back at Saturday night's main event. What a better way to make a star in front of like the most casual audience than putting, Uso, who's going to be super over. And I'm assuming we're getting a big Roman Reigns match that night, maybe The Rock. So getting Braun on a national stage there to win, but also It's a trend with Braun now, our friend. Challenged Sammy, lost the first time. He was too cocky. Handled business the second time. He didn't lose that one. Was too cocky, like you said, in Partham, against Jay early in this match, doing push-ups and all that stuff, loses. I don't think our guy Braun's going to lose if he gets a second chance at Jey Uso. So I like the way that they're building it out with both characters, honestly. Really good stuff.
I agree. And then if you guys are right and they use this as a catalyst to bring him back involved with Roman, I mean, it just like we always say, I know we say it's a joke, like bottom 5, like bottom 6, but we really are like always just in the middle of the ball game with this bloodline stuff. I mean, it's a great moment for Jay. He's now like, this is his first solo title, and it's a perfect segue to bring him in back to the bloodline story saga before you get all the way to Survivor Series and War Games. So, I mean, really job well done by Triple H, and I will love it if Roman goes to Jay on live TV and it's like, we need you, Oos. And Jay's like, I don't need to be no one's right-hand man no more, Oos.
But Jay, you're not feeling Oosy right now.
Cinema.
Wow.
You're not feeling Oosy right now, Jay.
Oosy, not very Oosy.
We might never know.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, one more thing. We might never know.
You're good.
But if Cody Rhodes didn't come back to WWE, was Jey Uso like world champion right now in the bloodline story? Because Cody obviously threw a major wrench into that. And I feel like that's where we were ending up with Jay at some point. And then they're like, listen, we can't give it to you over this guy right now, but we're still going to build you into a star. Like that's the thing. And it worked. Like he's not world champion right now, but this is a big deal. But I wonder a lot when we're talking about bloodline stuff. Like what happens if Cody was never like Cody Rhodes? What were they trying to actually do with this?
I want to also just think about, even in another hand, what happens if it was Roman Rock at WrestleMania
last year? Yeah,
that's a very good point. But that might have even been more of a reason to bring Jay in and put a solo title on him even sooner with those two already at it. What's Jay gonna do with the rest of the bloodline while they have their own thing going on?
That's a good point, because think about Money in the Bank. I mean, they could have easily put it on Jay, but he would have just been held hostage with that for a year. Like,
yep.
A lot of good points.
You know, lost in all this is where's Jimmy been? I mean, they took him out by, Shield power bombing him through a table, but we haven't heard that he's injured. Rikishi made some vague statement about, thoughts for my son. And we got word, from the report saying, oh, Jimmy's perfectly fine. Don't worry. Well, then when and how are they going to bring him back? And what's Jimmy's attitude going to be? Is it that he's been staying home recuperating this whole time? And even when he's healthy, he's like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it to fight for Roman anymore. I don't think it's worth it getting involved with this bloodline business anymore. So when Roman, starts asking for help, the first one he goes to is Jimmy, because he was still there by his side at WrestleMania. And then Jimmy's like, screw it. I don't want to get involved anymore.
A lot of possibilities.
A lot of good points. A lot of possibilities.
I mean, that's the best part about wrestling.
All I know is that with possibilities, it is time for some train wreck trivia presented by Batavia Down. Speaking of championships with Jimmy Uso,
Batavia Down is more, lots more.
On this day, 17 years ago, the Cruiserweight title was taken out of action in WWE. It would not be brought back for 9 years with the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016. Who was the Cruiserweight champion at the time that the title was retired?
What year?
2007.
2007.
Was it RVD?
You have to think lighter.
Yeah, I think this is a cruiser.
Oh man,
Hornswoggle.
I knew that's where we were going.
Come on.
That's crazy.
I mean, again,
that's insane.
Vince McMahon booking,
Yeah, I mean, if Vince at least had the wherewithal to retire it after that.
Well, yeah, that
had to go out on
perfect
top.
excuse to do it for sure. So shout out to that. Let's see. Hold on. On this day in wrestling history, WWE Raw leaves the USA Network for 5 years, only to return 5 years later. What channel did it go to?
Oh, that was TNN.
At the time it left. TNN, which eventually became Spike Network. Yes.
Wow.
All right. So we got some good traffic. Good job. Wow. Parthy was on his game there.
CSW
very good. Very good.
Home.
They simulcast the buying of WCW on TNN and TNT. But Vince had a little bit of a flub there. He called them both TNT, as I recall.
Yeah, of course. Nothing like a little flub. Speaking of a little flub, so these are starting to pour out on Vince. I will be the first to say that it's been out a day. I've seen like things say from episode 4, from episode 5, from episode 6. Again, this is not to overbroad. It's only been out, like 12 hours or whatever. I haven't seen anything completely brand new, earth-shattering yet. I do hope we get some stuff. Or at least we hope we get some stuff that, is going to like completely go against him. Obviously, we all saw the clip that he didn't come back for his like last interview once the allegations re-arose or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page here that we hope that all the victims and everything are done justice by this documentary or whatever. And that obviously anything that's wrong is brought to light. But with that said, the early part is what kind of like fanhood and like the steroid cases from the 90s.
Yes, I think I'm only on episode 2, like halfway through it. And I think it's pretty interesting just in the regards of like the history of wrestling. If like you don't really know the history of wrestling, because they really do start it from like the beginning of like when his dad was still in charge. And then they go through the whole thing. Then episode 2 is really when they get into the steroids and they start getting into the scandals. But I mean, nothing like new, but I think it's like if someone's just like a casual fan and they really want to learn about the history of wrestling, I think it's pretty good for that aspect.
You know what? They've been hitting on basically all the scandal beats from those early days, from Superfly Snuka to Rita Chatterton to the Ring Boy scandal. They're not holding anything back as far as the ugliness of things that went on back then. And Vince is kind of, just hand waving it. Oh, they're just trying to make a buck off me. Phil Mushnick's just trying to sensationalize it. I never thought I would say this. I'm starting to side with Phil Mushnick, not necessarily on wrestling is bad, but what was going on within the wrestling business back then was pretty horrible.
Yeah, I don't think that's a secret. I think the best thing any of us have said thus far, I mean, both very good points. I haven't seen any of the episodes, just like Maniac, just seen a couple quotes out of place from all episodes and whatnot. But Jake said something that resonated with me today. This feels like WWE's way of saying going forward with Netflix, we're a totally different brand, totally different company, and wrestling has changed as a whole, trying to get a clean slate for these fans that have been reinvited by the return of The Rock, the return of Roman Reigns, the return of Cody Rhodes. It feels like they're really trying to use this to leverage the Triple H era as an entirely different era, period, for lack of a better word, of wrestling, and make you make you aware of the old stuff, but say, hey, we have changed as a company, we've changed as people, and the business has changed. And there's no more of this dirty underground shit. Yeah. Like the product you see on Netflix today is going to be something that you can be happy to watch and feel good about what's going on behind the scenes.
WWE obliterates social media. They've been on, like we've talked about it on this show, that they have been on the social media train from the beginning. They have pro teams, pro leagues absolutely crushed. Like, consider this would be. So with that said, they're aware of what people are saying. And again, not like the crazy person with one follower and like an egg for a picture or whatever, but they're aware of what's out in the ether. They're aware of what's out in the messaging. So I would not be surprised if it's very much at their front focus before they move into this new era, especially like you said, with these big deals, but maybe some new product, especially like I would not be surprised to see the Netflix product a little bit edgier. Obviously, they could use whatever language they want at that point. Does wrestling become a show where after 10 p.m. on a Raw or in the later part of a Raw, because I know that 2-3 hours is discussed, is different language going to be used, etc., like it is on cable, things like that. So super exciting. But I just what do you got, Prof?
I just want to. I agree with what Jake was saying and what Slick just brought up. But I wonder what the original thoughts of this documentary was.
Oh, it was glorifying. I do agree. This was going to be a crowning. This was going to be a crowning for sure.
Yeah, because I agree now that is. But like it was. He
looked at Dr. Dre. He looked at Michael Jordan, and they said, you know what, Vince, a 6-part doc or like a 4 to 6 part doc is exactly what you want to do. We could take in all parts of your career or whatever. And then as they went along on this, it only got worse and worse. And then basically they had to pivot.
You know, I shouldn't really be speaking on this because this is completely the victim.
Speak on it.
Decided to speak when she did, but I know there was half of a payment missing allegedly. But part of me wonders if she also heard that, oh, they're about to get all this money from Netflix, and like Vince is about to brag about himself in a 6-part docuseries when half these people don't even know like anything shitty about him. Like, nah, I'm not going to stand for this. Like, something needs to be done before this comes out and like makes him seem better than he actually is. Again, all speculation with the timing, but like you said, Maniac, I think if this didn't come up when it did, this would have been a crowning achievement, a Last Dance type doc, if you will.
What about the fact that Vince tried to buy back this documentary? He tried to buy it back from Vince and then just kill it, bury it.
Yeah.
I think he tweeted it himself, right?
I think that says a lot.
This documentary was, it's been in the works for a long time. Like,
I've been hearing about this. Yeah. I want to say at least 7 to 8 years.
So
and it was a Bill Simmons like dream project.
Yes,
wasn't
I was going to say
like, literally a dream project.
I was going to say like 2017, 2018 is when he first brought it up. Like, we'll be doing like the different docs that Ringer Film's going to do. We want to do a Vince doc. Like, I remember him saying that, but it definitely was going to be like, okay, this guy's, he's an up and down individual. Like, he's got some demons and stuff, but he's, a force among men and like made all this happen, this business maven, whatever it was going to be. Like, it was going to be triumphant at the end, like, but he still was able to do this. And now look at WWE, successful around the world, blah, blah, blah. And then
everybody makes
they had to switch the tone. Yeah, exactly. And I think that the Dr. Dre one is the Dr. Dre comparison is perfect. Like the Jimmy Iovine Dr. Dre, which was very like those guys are complicated men too, but they didn't show that.
Bro, and think about the
those
people
guys the whole time.
Like Hulk Hogan is Vince's Jimmy Iovine for this
pretty much
documentary. Because then you have the Undertaker, who's like Eminem. You know what I mean? Like they would bring it. And again, by the way, I'm not saying Dr. Dre seems like that's a good person. Like, you know what I mean? It does not seem like he's committed the atrocities of his man. I'm just saying the framing of how Dr. Dre was framed in that doc was how they were going to frame this man, that he like brought all these stars. Like he kind of made us like, yes, he may have been rough around the edges, etc. But yes, he like got winners. He was successful, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And yeah, they clearly had to pivot. Kudos, at least they pivoted, but hopefully they pivoted hard enough, and we'll see, because I think we'll know by this time next week. The fallout really hasn't happened, right, from this doc. Like I haven't seen like smoking guns. I haven't seen nukes, right? Exactly. It hasn't been digested, is what I'm saying. So
we need the wrestlers to get their hands on it, and we need that. We need.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we'll be getting some great takes. So what wrestlers should we look for a takeout of? Cardona.
I'll tell you.
I'm thinking older.
I'll tell you who you can cross off the list.
Ryback.
Cena, Rock, Hogan.
Anybody who had an interview on this,
don't listen to any of that shit.
Anybody who was a part of it.
The WWE is not going to be commenting at all on this, bro. It doesn't matter if they're on a house show.
I'm thinking the podcast. Like, what's Eric Bischoff going to say about the Vince stuff?
That'll be a good one.
Like, those are the types of names I'm ready.
He was in it.
Kurt Angle going to say.
Was he in it? Was Bischoff in it?
Yeah.
Damn. See, I haven't watched a second except clips.
Hey, one name that you can count on to speak his mind unfiltered: Bret the Hitman Hart. He was also talking. He's just gonna keep talking.
Hitman will do it.
Yeah, Brett's gonna be like, yeah, Vince is a real son of a bitch.
We already know how Brett feels.
Almost as much a son of a bitch as Goldberg.
Yeah, like as if we haven't heard Brett's opinion enough. Like now they just.
I like it, dude. I'll hear Brett's opinion all day, dude. It's
he does say in the show. I think they were talking about.
It's always gonna end in a tangent about how Goldberg ended his career. So I think
it's not surprising that CM Punk is inspired by Bret Hart, because you could also apply it to Bret Hart. Tell him when he's telling lies. There's never.
They're also both petty as fuck.
I think in the second episode, he like basically straight up says, I think it's about Pat Patterson. He's like, yeah, I fucking hated that guy.
Yeah. Because he's just the biggest Vince ass kisser, right? He hated him and the other guy too. But with that said, we are winding down here on Wrestling with Emotion. Obviously, Rob, you're out on the island. You got potential for Saturday main event if you go or whatever. But the exciting news in Western New York, Roman Reigns coming, the one tribal chief is coming to Buffalo, November 8th, I believe it is. So we part the Slick will be able to welcome. That's exciting though, because I don't think we've gotten Roman in the last time or two.
And Maniac, we should have had him at I think it was SmackDown 2 times ago. They came. Raw was last time. but it was directly after the Thursday night football game, Pats and Bills, and Sami Zayn just got accepted into the bloodline, and we didn't even get the tribal chief. We just got Sammy and the Usos talking about how Usi they were feeling now that everybody was on the same page. So it'll definitely be good to throw my one up in the KeyBank Center.
And keep in mind, this is in a couple short weeks away from War Games, so we're going to be in the thick of the build up there.
Oh yeah,
big time.
Yeah, this
will the final boss be in Buffalo?
I don't think the final boss is going to be in Buffalo, but do we have a Cena tour shirt? Does he have Buffalo crossed off?
It doesn't start yet.
2025 is when it starts.
It doesn't start yet.
I don't think the final boss is going to be in Buffalo. He'd rather have salmon than wings, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was one of the sketches.
We might be able to talk about that. We might be able to talk about that on a different show for 20 minutes.
Real quick, because that's a good topic with the final boss. Outside of a pay-per-view or a PLE, what was the best 10 minutes in sports entertainment or wrestling this year? Because my argument would be it was when Final Boss ambushed Cody in the back there and he friggin' the rain in the truck scene.
Are we counting like the press conference?
Oh, okay. Oh, well, yeah. Anything. I guess you can do anything if it's an AEW production or a WWE production. Like,
I'm gonna do the Vegas kickoff.
Okay.
I think for me,
it's right. You want to know what happened on that? Sorry, just 1 second, Slick. I apologize.
Go ahead.
But just 1 second. You know what happened on that night?
What?
This right here is bullshit.
An absolute classic.
Cody,
that was and wasn't it like in the middle of like a Thursday or something? Like,
yeah, it was a random Thursday.
You had to go back to like your day, and you're like, holy shit.
It was like announced like right after all like that shit went down on SmackDown. We're like, what the hell is going on that day?
Yeah,
nuts.
For me, I mean, dude, and it's crazy too because they had that press conference scheduled obviously already, and then the fans start bitching online for not even a week, and they have to rewrite the entire thing. Crazy.
You want to talk about days off, not going back to work? It was the Final Boss Twitter promos that would drop on a Friday at noon when I'm in the middle of my work day, and I'm like, all right, let me take a break. I'm gonna sit here and listen to the Final Boss for 17 minutes.
I'm in the Iron Paradise.
He had the cowboy hat on randomly because they were in San Antonio.
The best blur. You want to talk about blurring? Like, I listen, respect to kayfabe, but you want to talk about the best blurring of reality and kayfabe was when The Rock said that fucking Ari Emanuel and all those guys from like with the Netflix deal. Like, you think they're signing the Netflix deal for Raw without coming to the Final Boss and like seeing if he's gonna be involved? Like that was a great fucking like blurring of like what is going on in like the real world. It was literally artistry. So yeah, let's have some more shit. Let's have a great show in 45 minutes here for Grand Slam. AEW typically does deliver under these circumstances. People seem to
we haven't
agree.
Heard any special Tony Khan major announcements planned for tonight. He could pull a fast one and just come right out and say it, but with the whole speculation of the TV deal looming, could we just hear him announce it tonight, just out of nowhere with no build-up? He figures the Grand Slam itself is enough build-up. Are they going to do it next week on the five-year anniversary of Dynamite?
5 year would be a great time.
He loves his major announcement Twitter.
So he's not going to go without promoting it. You're saying?
Oh, he's going.
The biggest way for Tony Khan to surprise us is to not say that he is a major announcement for sure, because he literally says it when he has any news whatsoever. So I will give him credit. So let's say maybe we'll get something tonight. Maybe we'll see Shane O'Mac. Maybe we'll see Bryan Danielson in some action. Maybe we'll see him scratched from the roster. We'll see.
Scratched and Shane McMahon is wrestling Nigel.
Scratched and Shane McMahon takes on Nigel. And the crowd goes nuts. With that says, thank you for going nuts on all platforms. Make sure you're listening SoundCloud, Spotify. It is not the show where it is wrestling with your budget. It is not the show where it's wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion.
Yeet. Show me the money, Tony Khan.
Yeah, let's go, Parthy.